Dalili ya mvua ni mawingu, huenda na kuja kwa misimu, hivyo moshi ishara ya moto, kataa hitimu kabaki mtoto. Sana sana ndivyo mambo huwa, ndivyo huonekana. Sana sana ndivyo mambo huwa, ndivyo hujulikana. Yalo ndani huwezi kuficha, ukweli utajitokeza una dalili zinapoonekana. Kuepukana na maafa, kwa katari kwa masika, kwa tayari kwa kiangazi. Lisemalo lipona kama halipo liko njiani linakuja, lipo njiani linakuja, ya giza ni mwisho huonekana, hata ya mbinguni mwisho hutokea. Dalili yangu ni mawingu, huenda na kuja kwa misimu, hivyo moshi ishara ya moto, kataa hitimu kabaki mtoto. Sana sana ndivyo mambo huwa, ndivyo huonekana. Sana sana ndivyo mambo huwa, ndivyo hujulikana. Ukweli kama mwangaza huwezi kufichika, na moja kwa moja hakika watasalimu amri, wataachana na uongo, mambo yanayoleta kukosana.
Yes, what's up, beautiful people? Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Saturday Swahili classes. I do hope that you're doing well. And in Swahili, we normally just say karibu sana. And in case you're joining us for the very first time, please make sure you do subscribe. You can also let us know how your weekend is coming up, because on a weekend, I do understand that people are very busy trying to get from point A to another point. But nonetheless, I do hope that you are all doing well. And if not, I do know that things will actually shape up. And I do know that things will actually get on the right course. So welcome to this particular platform where we get to connect and learn Swahili at the end of the day. And I also do know that maybe perhaps you can also invite your friends over to this particular platform. And maybe perhaps you can also get to join us and learn Swahili together with us right here on this particular platform. So you can always feel free to connect with us. I did say on our different social media platforms. You can find us on Instagram, which is Blackhotfire Network. You can also find us on the official network website, which is www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. And for today, we shall be continuing with where we left off last time. We shall be learning a bit more Swahili. And like I did say, if you were talking about common courtesy words, we do have a couple of them. Number one is tafadhali. If you're asking for something, you can simply actually just tell someone tafadhali. For example, if you're asking for food, you would say tafadhali nipe chakula. Or if you're asking for water, you would actually say tafadhali nipe maji. Or if you're asking for anything else, you would start with tafadhali. And that simply has to be, or that is simply please. If you're saying thank you for anything that has actually been given to you, you would simply just say asante. Or you can also say shukran. So as if you're showing gratitude, maybe perhaps something has actually been given to you, you would simply just say asante, or you can say shukran. You can also say shukran. If you're telling someone goodbye, you simply just say kwaheri. So for example, if you had just a meeting, you had a meeting with someone and you're trying to wave them goodbye or wish them goodbye, you would simply just tell them kwaheri. Maybe perhaps if you are pleased to meet someone, you would say nina furaha kukuona or kupatana nawe. So I am happy. You would say nina furaha. So you would say nina, N-I-N-A, nina furaha, which is I am happy. I am happy. Maybe perhaps if you're trying to introduce yourself, remember you can say jina langu ni. For example, you might point yourself and say jina langu, J-I-N-A. J-I-N-A is for the name. We always keep on reminding ourselves that Gina is for the name. So therefore, if you're trying to introduce yourself, you might say jina langu ni so and so. For example, if your name is Alex, you'd say jina langu ni Alex. Or jina langu ni Mary. Or jina langu ni and then whatsoever your name is, that would be what you fix or insert there. So you say jina langu ni Spikes, you say jina langu ni this and that. There are different ways in which you can actually get to introduce yourself, and at the end of the day, you are simply able to introduce yourself and maybe perhaps make an acquaintance, or it might be even someone that you know, and you're simply just trying to remind them. You're trying to remind them your name, and it is not very difficult. It becomes very, very easy. You might say ninaitwa so and so. You might say ninaitwa Jackson, or ninaitwa Marion, or you might, whatever your name is, you might say ninaitwa or jina langu ni. That is just simply how you introduce yourself. So if you do if you do have a question at any point, please feel free to interject. You can ask your question. Unaweza uliza swali. If I did say uliza swali tafadhali, that would be please ask a question. So the name or the word tafadhali becomes very, very important because it shows that you're courteous, or maybe perhaps Swahili is a very, very polite language, and therefore people will use the name tafadhali very, very much often. Tafadhali this and that. Maybe tafadhali nipe maji, that would be please give me some water. So for the basic items, which are water, food, shelter, clothing, for those items, which are the most basic, you would say, for example, if it's for water, I did say it's maji, M-A-J-I, for water, that is for water. If you're talking about food, you would say chakula. Food, you would say chakula, chakula. If you're talking about clothing, you would say nguo, clothing, that's nguo, or clothes, that is nguo. If you're talking about money, you would say pesa. Money, you would say pesa in Swahili, you would say pesa. And therefore, for example, if someone wanted money, they would say nipe pesa. If someone wanted food, they would say nipe chakula. If someone wanted water, they would say nipe maji. And the last time we did have the adjective that is a quantitative adjective. That is for kidogo. If someone says nipe maji kidogo, it simply means just give me a little bit amount of water. Just a little bit amount of water. If someone says nipe chakula kidogo, they simply mean please give me a little bit of food. If someone says nipe pesa kidogo, they simply mean give them a bit of some money, because the word kidogo is just an adjective in Swahili, and it simply means a little bit, a little bit. And if it's a lot, you would say the opposite of kidogo, you would say mingi, M-I-N-G-I, mingi. You would say mingi for a lot, M-I-N-G-I, that is for a lot. So therefore, there is a difference, or that is the opposite. The opposite of kidogo, you'd actually say mingi, and it's understood to be a lot. For example, you wanted a lot of food, you would say nipe chakula mingi, or nipe maji mingi, which is just give me a lot of water, or whatever you're asking for. You say mingi, and that is expressing that the amount you want is a lot. For example, nipe pesa mingi, that would be a lot of money. And those are just some examples of the common words that will pop up in a day-to-day conversation. Remember the last time we did say, if you're trying to say hello to someone, you simply say hujambo or habari yako. If you say hujambo, it's understood to be hello. Hujambo is hello. For example, if you say hello to your sister, you would say hujambo dada. If you say hello to a brother, you would say hujambo kaka. And it's not difficult. That is exactly how you would say. So those are some of the examples that if you're trying to say hello to someone, you say hujambo for one individual. If you say hello to a group of people, you simply say hamjambo. So therefore, if you're introducing yourself, for example, you would say hamjambo. That is to a group of people. You would actually tell them hamjambo. Jina langu ni Spikes. That is what you would say. Hello, my name is Spikes. And you might say nimetoka. For example, if you're coming from Nairobi, you would say nimetoka Nairobi, which is I am from Nairobi, nimetoka Nairobi. If you're actually introducing yourself and maybe you're coming from a different part, for example, you're coming from Dakar, Senegal, or Johannesburg, South Africa, or you're coming from Cairo in Egypt, you would say nimetoka Cairo, or nimetoka Johannesburg, or nimetoka wherever you might be from. You would simply say nimetoka, and then followed by whatever place you are from, whatever city you are from. You might say nimetoka Nairobi, nimetoka Mombasa, nimetoka Kisumu, anywhere. You just say nimetoka to simply mean it is a phrase meaning I am from. I am from. So you might say hamjambo, which is hello, to a group of people, and then you would say jina langu ni Spikes, which is my name is Spikes, and then you proceed to say nimetoka mjini Nairobi, which is I am from Nairobi City. I am from Nairobi City. That is simply how you would say it. So that is a very, very easy way of just getting to break the ice, or just really to interrupt. Really not interrupting, but introduce yourself. You would say hamjambo if it's to a group of people, and then say jina langu, my name is, say jina langu ni Spikes, and then from there you would actually just say nimetoka mjini Nairobi, which is I am from Nairobi City. That is simply how you do get to introduce or make an introduction. If it's to an individual, you are just simply saying hello to an individual. You would say hujambo, hujambo, Hujambo. You would simply say hujambo, hujambo for hello, hujambo for hello, hujambo for hello, and then you proceed and say jina langu ni Spikes, my name is Spikes, and then you would say nimetoka mjini Nairobi, which is I am from Nairobi, or whatever other place that you're from. You simply introduce yourself and say where you're coming from, and you might say nina furaha kuwaona, which is I am happy to see you, or I'm pleased to meet you. Nina furaha kuwaona, which is I am pleased or I'm happy to see you. It's not difficult, so it becomes it's very, very easy. And for today, our focus shall be on noun classes, or what we call nomino. Ngeli za nomino, that is noun classes in Swahili. And at the start of this particular segment, I did play your song. It's known as Sana Sana. The name of the artist is known as Dan Aseda. He's a wonderful Kenyan artist. He has done wonderful music. If you check out his music on YouTube, you'll find it. The last time we were in class, we learned that sana means a lot. Sorry, sana is for emphasis. Sana is really for emphasis. For example, if someone says karibu sana, they simply mean welcome, you're much welcome. It means very or a lot. So if someone says karibu sana, it simply means they're emphasizing that they welcome you and you're very much welcome. So they might say karibu sana. So the name of that particular song I played, it's known as a sana sana. Sana sana means very or a lot or often. That is how it would be in that particular context. And if I did say, if you're trying to learn Swahili, please make sure that you do have maybe some Swahili music or some Swahili films that you do watch that have subtitles, and eventually you will be able to know what's going on with a particular composition or the dialogue. You will continue to learn even as you listen to the dialogues. It will be very, very. It will be much easier for you to learn, even as you continue engaging or learning with the dialogue that people are having, maybe perhaps through the subtitles, or maybe you're listening to music and you get to catch a drift of what is going on. So we shall learn about noun classes for today. Nouns, these are the names, and we call them majina. These are nouns, we call them majina. And what happens is that apart from those particular nouns, so therefore, if you're trying to learn noun classes, you do have many classes of nouns. We call them ngeli za nomino. Words in Swahili are known as majina, but if you're talking about the nouns, you can also call them nomino. So therefore, we do have several classes of nouns. Some people talk about 9 noun classes. Some people have talked about 4 noun classes, but for the sake of our segment on these particular classes, we shall be talking about 9 noun classes. The 9 noun classes. The number 1 noun class, or Swahili nouns, are categorized into 9 classes. Swahili nouns are categorized into 9 classes, and this is what I'm sharing on my screen. So these noun classes, each has its own set of rules and characteristics, and these classes are essential for understanding the grammatical structure of the language. So therefore, if you want to understand the grammatical structure of the Swahili language, it is important that you get to understand the noun classes as well. So they are also very crucial for proper sentence formation and agreement. And I did say last time that when we talk about forming sentences, we do have the SVO for our sentence structure, which is the subject, the verb, and the object. The subject, the verb, and the object. So here are some of the nine. Here are the 9 classes and their characteristics. The number 1 class of noun in Swahili, we call it the wa class of noun. And the wa class of noun, it includes the nouns of people that start with the consonant in the singular, and they start with the syllable wa in the plural. For example, mtu. Mtu means a person. Mtu is one individual. But if you're talking about many people or many people, you would say watu. Mtu, watu. So in their singular, they start with the consonant and in their singular, they start with the consonant and in their plural, they start with the syllable wa. For example, if you're talking about a woman, you would say mke, or a wife, you would say mke for a wife. But if it's many wives, you would say wake. And that is the number 1 class of noun, the wa. It also has an example of the word mkulima. Mkulima is a farmer. So if you say mkulima is one farmer. But if it's many farmers, you would simply say wakulima. For many farmers, you would simply say wakulima. So that is a farmer, one farmer. But if it's many farmers, you would simply say wakulima. Mkulima, wakulima. If you're talking about a student, you would say mwanafunzi, and if it's for one, that is for one student. But if you're talking about many students, you would say wanafunzi. If you're talking about, for example, a director of a company, the director of the company would be mkurugenzi. Mkurugenzi is for one director. But if you're talking about many directors, you would say wakurugenzi. So therefore, you find that these examples, they do have, all these words, they do have examples of words or nouns that have the syllable the consonant in their singular, and also the consonant, the syllable wa in their plural. Some of those examples, they are very, very easy to remember. And they do constitute, like I did say, names of people. I did say mkulima is a farmer, mwanafunzi is a student, mwalimu is a teacher. We do have mkufunzi is a student, and those are some of the examples. The second noun class is the me class of noun. The me class of nouns, It includes nouns of people that start with the consonant in singular and me in the me in the plural. For example, mto refers to a river. Mto refers to a river. Mto refers to a river. But if you're talking about many rivers, you would say mito, mito, mito. So therefore, the me class of noun, this mostly constitutes the me class of noun. It mostly constitutes words of physical things. For example, physical things such as a mountain. So for a mountain, you would say mlima, mlima for one mountain. If it's for many mountains, you would say milima, milima. For one mountain, you would say mlima. For many mountains, you would say milima, milima. If you're talking about, for example, Mount Kenya, we do have Mount Kenya, which is a very, very tall mountain at 5,199 meters above sea level. If you're talking about Mlima, you would say Mlima Kenya. That is simply for Mount Kenya. Mlima Kenya, that would be simply for Mount Kenya. If you're talking about many mountains, you would say Milima. Milima is for many mountains. But if it was just one mountain, you would say Milima. But if it's many, you simply say Milima, Milima, Milima. And apart from that, I did say Mto. If you're talking about a river, you say Mto. If it's for one river. If you're talking about many rivers, you would say Mito. For example, if you're talking about a river, for example, there's a river which is big in Kenya. It's known as Ewasonyiro. You would say Mto Ewasonyiro, which is a river Ewasonyiro. That is for one river. But if you're talking about many rivers, you would say Mito Imefurika. For example, it has been raining heavily, and you might say the river is flooded, and the area has flooded because the river has broken its banks. So you would say Mto Imefurika, and that is for one river. But if you're talking about many rivers, you'd say Mito Imefurika, and it's not even difficult to remember that. It's very, very simple for you to remember that. Nonetheless, this is a Swahili class, and I thank you so much for joining us and being together with us on this particular segment. So that is that is how you get to explain the me class of noun. The me class of noun. I did say that we do have the wa, then we have the me, the me. That is the first class of noun, and then you have the second class of noun, and it's not even difficult to remember them. Please make sure that you get to practice. I always do say that practice makes perfect. The more you practice something, the easier it becomes to remember. And Swahili, as any other language, needs your time. You need to commit your time to learning the language. And apart from that, you also need to be able to practice it with friends. Be with friends, your colleagues, your family. Learning a language, you cannot just do it on your own or by your own self. And that is just how it is. We also do have the other class of noun, the third one for our class. It's the key V class of noun. The key V class of noun, it comprises mostly of non-living things. I am talking about things such as a chair. If you're talking about a chair, we call it, or a seat, we call it kiti. K-I-T-I. The K-I-T-I, you find that these words in the singular form, they start with the syllable ki. In their plural form, they start with the syllable V. So it's the key V class of noun, the key V class of noun. We talk about kiti, that is a chair or a seat. We talk about kioo. Kioo is a mirror. If you're looking at yourself on a mirror, you'd say najiangalia kwa kioo. But if you're talking about many mirrors, we call them VO, VO. If you're talking about something such as a book, which is an inanimate object, a book, it's known as kitabu, one book, kitabu for one book. But if you're talking about many books, you simply would say vitabu, vitabu for books, vitabu. For example, you might say kitabu, kitabu changu kimepotea, which is my book. I have lost my book. Nimepoteza kitabu changu. I have lost my book. But if I'm talking about I have lost my books, I would say vitabu vyangu nimevipoteza, or I have lost my books. Vitabu. Vitabu is the plural form of kitabu, which is a book. So one book is kitabu, and many books is vitabu. Vitabu. So what we do find is that there is the ngeli is a nomino, and that is what we call the noun classes in Swahili. And that is exactly what we are trying to learn for today. These are noun classes, and they are very instrumental if you're trying to understand a language and how the words flow in the language. Then it has to be through these noun classes, through the noun classes. all the ngeli za nomino. Ngeli za nomino. Ngeli za nomino. That is simply how you get to explain or to learn these noun classes. We have so far talked about three. The wa, for example, mpenzi is for a lover. If you're talking about many lovers, you would say wapenzi, wapenzi, wapenzi watazamaji. For example, if you find broadcaster says, dear viewers. So mtazamaji is a viewer. The word mtazamaji is a viewer or the audience. You say mpenzi mtazamaji, that would be dear viewer, dear viewer. But if you're talking about many viewers, you would say watazamaji, watazamaji, wapenzi, watazamaji. That is exactly how you would actually say it, wapenzi, watazamaji, wapenzi, watazamaji. And it's not any difficult. You would simply be able to remember that. Mtazamaji, watazamaji, mwalimu, walimu, mwanafunzi, wanafunzi, mkulima, wakulima. That is in the wa class of noun, which is the first. The second one is me, mostly for physical and nature. You know, physical things and nature. So, for example, mti is a tree. Mti is a tree, but if you're talking about many trees, you would say miti, miti. If you're talking about a forest, there is one. A forest is msitu. Msitu is for a forest. Msitu, msitu, msitu. These are examples of the words in the second class of noun. And then in their singular, in their plural, you would say misitu, misitu. In their plural, you would say misitu. For example, if you're talking about one tree, you would say mti. If you're talking about many trees, you would say miti. Mti is for a tree, but if you're talking about many, you would say miti. If you're talking about that is for mlima. Mlima is for mountain. You say mlima, all mlima. So far, our focus has been on three noun classes. And these three noun classes, the wa, the me, and I'm giving more examples. The me, and then, for example, you're talking about mlango. Mlango is a door. Mlango is a door. Mlango is a door. It falls in the me class of noun, because for one door you simply say mlango. For many doors you simply say milango. For many doors you say milango, milango. So one door is mlango, many doors is milango, and it falls in the me class of noun. The me class of noun. One door, many doors, milango. It falls in the me class of noun. This word mlango, it falls in the me class of noun because in the singular it starts with the consonant in the in the singular it starts the consonant in the singular. In the plural it starts with the syllable me. The syllable So mlango is for the plural, the singular, then milango is for the plural. Do not get that confused. Sometimes I do confuse things myself, but yes, that is exactly how you get to remember that particular noun class. The me, the key V is that, and the key V noun class is mostly for things that are inanimate objects. For example, kifunguo. Kifunguo is it's a key. It's a key. If you're talking about one key, you say kifunguo. We say kifunguo. Kifunguo. That is for a key. It's for one key to a door. Already for a door, we have learned that it's mlango. And a mlango falls in the me class of noun. But for kifunguo, it falls in the key V class of noun. For example, you say kifunguo kimeanguka. That is for the key has fallen. Or you would say vifunguo vimeanguka. Vifunguo vimeanguka, that would be the keys have fallen. Vifunguo is for the keys, is for keys. Vifunguo is for keys. And therefore, that is for words that fall in the key V class of noun. If you're talking about a knife is also another inanimate object. A knife is kisu for one knife. Kisu, Kisu. That is for a knife. But if you're talking about many knives, you would simply say visu, VISU. U, that is for visu, for knives, and it's not difficult. You simply just have to remember, and once you do, you become at a much better position to understand these particular examples. Like I did say, for a mirror, it's called kio. For many mirrors, we call them VO. VO. For one mirror, it's kio. For many mirrors, it's called VO. And it's not even difficult to remember that. So we do have the G-ma class of noun, the G-ma class of noun. This includes nouns that start with the syllable G in their singular, and then the syllable ma in their plural form. So, for example, you might say jicho. Jicho is an eye. Jicho is an eye. These are the G-ma. Let me just put them down. G-ma class of noun. The G-ma class of noun. The G-ma class of noun constitutes words that start with the syllable G in their singular form, and then the syllable ma in their plural form. The syllable G in their singular form and the syllable ma in their plural form. For example, jicho. If you point to your eye, this is jicho. Jicho is the eye. Jicho is the eye. But if you're talking about many eyes, you would say macho. Macho. You would say macho. Jicho is one eye. Both eyes, they are macho. If you're talking about that is an example of the G-ma class of noun. But that is the fourth class of noun so far. We started with the wa, we went to the me, we went to the ki v, and now we are at the G-ma class of noun, the G-ma class of noun. And if you're talking about maybe perhaps how we classify words in Swahili. The classification of words is simply dependent on those classes. It's dependent on these classes because I did say they are very, very essential. They are very, very essential. So if you're talking about the G-ma class of noun, this G-ma class of noun, it constitutes words. Mostly that refer to big or small objects, augmentatives, and mass nouns. Each class has its own set of prefixes and rules for pluralization, which are crucial for constructing correct sentences in Swahili. Understanding these classes is vital for mastering the language and expressing the nuances of the language effectively. So far, we have talked about the wa. The wa, it constitutes people, including nouns that start with the consonant in the singular and the syllable wa in the plural. We have talked about the me class of noun, mostly constituting of plants, maybe constituting of the body parts and natural things or physical things. For example, if you're talking about the me in the body parts, you might talk about mguu. If you're talking about the body part, mguu, this is the me. Mguu simply means the foot. Mguu means the foot. It means the foot. But if you're talking about the plural form of it, you say miguu. You say miguu. That is when you refer to many to the legs. If you're talking about the hand, you say mkono. This is your hand. You say mkono for the hand. And if you're talking about the plural form of it, you say mikono. So that is simply how you get to refer to these noun classes, and that is how you see how they fall. For the kiwi, I've once again said the kiwi class constitutes objects, it constitutes tools, and it constitutes languages. For example, if you're talking about tools, kijiko is like this is a spoon. You would say kijiko, vijiko. If you're talking about a book, you would say kitabu, which is an inanimate object. Kitabu, vitabu. If you're talking about the mirror, I did say it's kio, and then we do have vo. And then we'd have the na class of noun, the consonant and the in the singular, words that start with the consonant the singular and also the consonant in the plural. And these mostly constitute the names of animals and things and borrowed words. So these animals, we might talk about things like an insect. An insect would fall in the class of noun. For example, inzi. Inzi is an insect. Inzi is an insect. It's an insect. It's an insect. If you're talking about one insect, it's inzi. If you're talking about many insects, it is still inzi. It does not change. It does not change. The same remains to be that the inzi does not change. So you might talk about one, which is inzi, but it does not change. So in its singular, it's inzi. In its singular, it's inzi, and also in their plural, it's really just inzi. It does not change. That is simply how you get to refer to these particular classes of nouns. Yes, once again, nouns in Swahili, they are grouped into various noun classes because of two main reasons. Number one, their characteristics as a noun. Number two, Swahili vowel harmony, the vowel harmony. And there are 9 noun classes in Swahili. Each noun class has both a singular and a plural form to make 18 total of them. So that will be 18. The wa, also known as the awa. We have the kivi, which remains to be the kivi. We have the mi, which also is the ui. We have the jima, which also is also the li ya. And then we have the which also becomes the ez. And then we have the uu, which is also the uz. And then you have the uu, which is still remains as individual uu. Then you have the ku class of noun, the papa class of noun, the mo class of noun. So this is how we get to categorize the nouns, and they are 9 noun classes, and each noun has both a singular and a plural form, and therefore the total happens to be 18 of them. The total happens to be 18 of them, and it's not even difficult to comprehend. You just need to realize that the way they flow, they are very important because you are able to also understand words in the singular and also words in the plural form, and it's very important that we all get to understand that, and that we all are able to internalize and remember these particular elements just the way they are. It's very important, and we need to internalize and remember all these particular noun classes just as they are, which is very important for us to be able to do so. In case you do have a question, please ask. Kama uko na swali, tafadhali uliza, which is tafadhali uliza, which is please ask, which is please ask. Tafadhali uliza, all uliza tafadhali. If you do have a question, please ask. I will be more than glad to respond to you. I will be more than glad to simply respond to you and reply, to your question. If you do have any question, please ask so that we can be on the same page, and I can respond to your question at this particular moment. Feel free to ask. Feel free to ask, and I will be more than glad to respond to you. Kama uko na swali tafadhali uliza. Kama uko na swali tafadhali uliza. Does anyone have a question? Does anyone has a question? Kuna yeyote aliye na swali? Kuna yeyote aliye na swali? If you do have a question up to this particular point, please ask. We have learned about those particular nouns, but we shall continue learning so that we give better examples. And with these examples, you are able to practice. You are able to internalize the whole issue. But with practice, you would be able to get or to be to become perfect. Je, uko na swali? Do you have a question? So fadhali uliza, please ask. Nikupe jibu, I give you an answer. Nikupe jibu, I'll give you an answer. Nikupe jibu, I'll give you an answer. If you do have any question, I'll give you an answer. If you do have an answer, if you do have a question, please ask so that I can respond. If you do have a question, please ask. If not, I would say kwaheri to wish you a happy and a productive rest of the weekend, which is for goodbye. If you do not have a question, I will simply say kwaheri to wish you a productive rest of the week. And it is very, very important that you keep on practicing. Tomorrow we shall learn the same Swahili noun classes, and then from there we shall give examples in sentences. And from there, I do believe that we shall elevate your understanding and a learning of this beautiful language that we call Swahili. For now, I want to sign out, unless anyone has a question about the noun classes. Unless anyone has a question about the noun classes. Unless anyone has a question. Unless anyone has questions about the noun classes. If we are no questions, we shall learn this. We shall continue the same tomorrow. Learn about more noun classes, and we shall also learn about conjunctions, all viunganishi. Conjunctions, all viunganishi in Swahili, because they are also very, very important. Conjunctions, all viunganishi. Conjunctions, all viunganishi. It's very, very easy. It's very, very easy for us to be able to also get to understand that. Very, very easy, important for us to understand that. Nonetheless, for now, once again, I want to wish you a happy and a productive rest of the week. We shall learn more about conjunctions. And also, if you haven't, in case you would like to write to us an email, please make sure you do so. Blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com. Blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com. gmail.com. You can write to us. In case you do have a question. Please write to us, blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com, and I will respond to your question, anything that you might like to ask regarding our classes for Swahili, or maybe perhaps you want to have a more personalized approach and have your own personalized classes. We can also be able to look into the possibility of that, and we would be more than glad to also schedule or organize for that as well. Till next time, much peace and love. I want to wish you a happy and a productive rest of the weekend. Make sure to join us tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here on the Blackhotfire Network, media for the 21st century. And even as we wind up, please make sure to check out www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. Once you are on there, you can create a free profile. When you are on the network, you can create a free profile. And once you do, you can also be able to connect with the rest of the family on there. You can be able to ask questions. You can be able to engage. You can be able to also expand your network simply by connecting with us right there on the Blackhotfire Network. Till next time, peace and love. Kwaheri.